Hey y'all, welcome back to Let's Be Blunt, the podcast with me, your host Cheyenne, where we smoke blunts and talk about blunt shit. As always, please hit that link tree because you can see where I stream and where I post. All my social medias are in that for Let's Be Blunt, on top of all my places that I stream. Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, all them good places. Hit that link tree. I'll attach it to every social media. On top of our guest, I'll attach his social media and his link tree to the bio as well. This is an 18 up podcast, so please be warned. This is not for your children. Don't watch this shit around them. Don't complain to me about it either. This is a sponsored podcast, though, so shout out to my sponsor. It's 420, baby. We got edibles, all different kinds of things. We got lighters. She makes plates as well. You got full elotes, full carne asadas, pozoles, all those good things. Get your ad needs done at It's 420, baby. It's always 420 somewhere. That being said, what's good to our guest? Introduce yourself. Tell us who you is.
Yo, Chris Marshall, Wodisun, many
Uh,
platforms, but mainly just my main name. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Ways the Wody, whichever. Out of the
I'm,
gray, out of the
yeah.
gray and podcast area. If you're looking for me there,
We're going to
say
definitely
that.
have your Linktree set up.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be up and running. We're definitely excited to have you on. Let's be blunt. We've been going back and forth between both of our teams in order to get us both booked in the same time frame because we're both busy ass people. So I'm definitely excited to get this exclusive interview done with you. That way we can get your podcast out, especially out streaming around the world.
trying to get back into the you know what I'm saying, the podcast game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I stepped back for a minute, and like everything's just been happening, man. Life has just been happening, so things have been going on. So it's a lot of stuff to talk about. And
Yeah,
that's why I was like, yeah, got to get back out here, man. Talk stuff. Too many people monitoring, trying to stop you from saying things. So podcast is really the only place you have freedom.
big facts.
Really, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Definitely say your name one good more time for everybody before we get into this podcast, real quick.
Chris Marshall. Ways the Wody if you're looking for me on TikTok. Wody Sign on IG. And most other platforms you can just find by Chris Marshall.
Big facts. All right, let's get into this podcast real quick. Uh, Let everybody know your age and a little bit about you, area you grew up, time frame you grew up in, kind of a little background about little bitty Chris.
Uh, I was born in the year 1981. Uh, I'm 42. Um, Shit, the time frame I grew up, like, of course, that's the 80s, and I was old enough or young enough to basically be able to experience certain things in that time frame. So I have seen different cultural changes. I have seen things like music, for example. I have seen where music has come and where music is at now, um, and our society. And it's crazy because you don't think about that stuff growing up, but now being at the age that I am now, you just reflect back on things, and it's like, whoa. Um, what's that? Where I grew up at? That
Yeah.
was the other one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm an army brat, so I have been everywhere. I was born in Germany.
Okay.
But when people like to ask me where I'm from, I always like to consider where I spent most of my time. So I spent most of my childhood in Florida.
Okay.
So I done
Ew.
lived I done, I done lived in many places, but
Yeah.
Florida is my home, I guess. Orlando to be more specific. And Florida life was it was hot all the time. I mean, that's everybody knows that. Um, it was nothing really spectacular besides me giving my youth, my juvenile, uh, my youth to the state of Florida. And I'm pretty
Mm,
sure we probably touch on that somewhere along the
yeah, we will.
lines.
We will. I want to go into a little bit who who you grew up around, who raised you, really.
My mother, we have my mom is a single mother of four,
Okay.
and I'm the oldest. So She has had men in her life here and there, but I cannot accredit these men to
Yeah.
being actual figures in our life. They were just
Okay.
I don't even know what they were there for. Sometimes I think about that. So my mother was the one that did the most of the raising, mainly, and in the state of Florida, for the most part, was responsible for my upbringing too. I just have to say that because I spent so much time in their
Mm,
freaking system.
I imagine. Go into a little bit how. Ooh, we were talking about earlier not making this a forever long podcast, and the more you talk, the more like questions I want to ask type
I know
shit.
that's how that's gonna go. That's how it's gonna go.
Go into how your mindset and opinions have changed from childhood into teenager years. Explain a little bit more about I don't want to say institutionalized, that's usually used for like prison terms, but it really is the foster care system is a whole institution in itself.
Um, how my mindset has changed. I like to think that I was always a elevated thinker.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I always think outside. I'm always thinking outside the box on everything.
Mm,
Um, and I'm gonna always keep going back to the juvenile justice program because that has a huge effect on how my mindset has been changed and how I think to this day as well.
yeah.
For example, they always drill into your head accountability, ownership, taking ownership for your responsibilities or for your actions and stuff
Mhm.
like that, which was something that I had a problem with in the beginning because I didn't even really know what the problem was.
Yes.
And to this day, I still apply that type of things that I learned. I still apply that to my life now, and it keeps me out of trouble. Um, that like moving, transitioning wise, some things I still think I'm trying to change my mindset from childhood. For example, you you need to be able to have your imagination. So life would take your imagination away from you
Mhm.
in order then you need that's a huge part of you being able to manifest things in your life. And the way that this system is set up, it takes away your imagination because you're so caught up on trying to live and survive. So
Yeah.
I have lost that aspect of my childhood and my adolescence, and I'm trying to gain that back in my adulthood because I'm
Mhm.
realizing it is very important. It's just as important what I'm saying, as it was when you were a child.
I
So,
definitely agree with you.
what
That's
happened?
I said I definitely agree with you. That's speaking huge facts because a lot of people
Yeah,
don't recognize that.
yeah, man.
Like, explain a little bit growing up in the 80s and the way discipline has evolved over the years.
Ooh, it's one of my favorite topics actually.
Yeah.
Um, when I do lives a lot on TikTok, and we had a discussion about discipline and how discipline is, and I'm even getting educated on it for a fact because people
Mhm.
are saying that was a slave mentality. That was what we were taught to do, to beat our kids because we were beat to make them understand. But
Yes.
I can remember quite a few ass whoopings, so to speak, that I have received that I did not feel like, oh shit, my mom was like really, really messed up and she shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Um, my mom didn't beat us for no reason. Everything was for a reason. Like I don't remember her really being like, "Oh, y'all making too much noise. I'm gonna come in there and beat y'all like that." You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
don't
No.
remember those. It was always for a reason. So fast forward to now, um, it has changed a lot. Like you have people involved that just get involved in your life. These DCF people or child services people around the country who will get involved in your life when you're trying to discipline or correct your child, and that will lead to problems. So it seems like now that I guess there's a certain type of care that's going on
Mhm.
that'll make you feel like, yo, all right, fine, you discipline them then. You know what I'm saying? Since you want to tell me what I can and cannot do, you deal with it. Um, and then from another perspective, like I said, we talk about this on my platforms. um, people say that talking
Mhm.
to them is a different perspective of how to get to your child. Sometimes you just need to talk, and I agree with that too. I just ultimately, this is where I ultimately stand on it. There's a time and a place for both. You have to
Yes.
pick and choose when to use what to use. There's a time to talk, and there's a time to sometimes, you know, um, use spanking. But at a certain age, those spankings don't even you don't need that. That doesn't is
Oh
not
no, there's
necessary
other
anymore.
ways to teach
Yeah.
children right and wrong. Communication is very pivotal. And I'm learning that the more I progress and interact with other people's kids and learn about mine, it's a different situation where you come from a household that spanking was the way to go, like getting disciplined was a thing as well, but getting your ass beat was how you learned. You feel me?
Yeah,
So
word.
coming into a mindset where you're like, yo, these are people. Just because their communication skills aren't the best doesn't mean they deserve to get their ass beat. I mean, sometimes I hate this is a hard topic to discuss because like we've learned that fear is the most efficient way to teach somebody something. Whether you're pointing a gun to somebody's head or you're spanking somebody, fear is still invoked, you know? So it comes down to, is there a more humane way to overall teach generations how to better learn? You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, and you're absolutely correct. And different times, like because I say I'm open minded, so when I have people talking and expressing their views, I'm learning stuff too because these are parents. Most of these people are parents too, and they're telling their ways of teaching and all this other stuff, and they're ultimately they're like just like you said, they're little people, and you just gotta know how to, so they need respect. They need respect too,
Exactly.
and at the same time, from a spiritual aspect, they can potentially be one of your relatives or past
Yeah.
ancestors or something like that. You know what I mean? So it gets really crazy.
We'll go into it definitely. I want to talk to you about pros and cons of being a young black male and how that shaped you into the man you are today and some of the struggles you still face being obviously a black male.
Pros, pros, pros.
You have beautiful
uh,
hair, Chris.
pros. Oh, you get long hair.
Pros. Pros.
You know, you get those certain aspects of the sun. The sun doesn't affect you. Let me see.
Food.
This is not even what happened?
Food.
Yeah,
But
you
that
know,
doesn't have nothing to do with Chris.
because I'm
Come
sorry.
on now.
It's sad, man. It's sad because you really can't really think like when you think about pros and cons. You know what I'm saying? You think about good and bad, and you like, damn, the way the society set things up, it's hard for you to really be able to spit out like good things of
Hmm.
being a black
That's why I
male. You know
asked
what
you
I'm
that
saying?
specific way, yo.
Yeah, like so I can't really think of nothing outside of like it might sound funny, but I'm like searching for shit to really be able to think. But when it comes to cons, I could be like, shit, you get locked up instantly, you spend extra long time in jail, you always worried about who's behind you in the rearview mirror of your car. If you're in an interracial relationship, and something goes wrong and it gets a little crazy, you're definitely gonna probably be the one to be blamed. um, Let me see. It's so much, you know what I'm saying? It's like a list. You got a plethora of stuff, you know what I
I
mean,
know, and
for
it's so
con.
sad.
Yeah.
Discuss raising a young black male. How do you navigate
Uh,
that?
Being that you have certain experiences, you be able to teach them. I like to look at it as I'd have done some of the most effed up stuff, so you don't have to do it. And I always express that. Like my oldest son, he's going through a lot. He has a child now, and
Yeah,
I feel like he leans on me a lot more now than he has when he was younger,
yeah,
and it's because I have the experience that as far as relationship, as far as being a young parent, because he just turned 23. Well, he's gonna turn 23 this month, but it gives me the ability to be able, because I how I teach is by relation. That's kind of how I am, how I come across people or
Mhm.
whatever, and I like to try to relate that way. I feel like people are more susceptible to listen to you if they feel like you come from where they're coming from or you've been through what
Exactly.
they've been through. So that's
Mhm.
what I think that it's kind of easy now. When I was younger, it was hard because I was a young father, like younger than what he is. And I didn't have nobody guiding me on anything. And I was really trying to figure stuff out on my own. So now that I done that, I could be the guiding voice to him and his siblings and stuff if they have that situation. Um, so
Yeah.
that's just how I look at it now.
Is there any couple words, couple sentences advice you would give young black males in today's society growing up to be a strong, not only male, emotionally, spiritually, around a whole round better males and young black males at that?
First of all, I'm trying to break away from that word black because I realize as I get more and more knowledge, that shit irritates me more and more.
Well, yeah, there's
Um,
definitely different races, different ethnicities.
yeah,
For
like I'm
social
like
for socially purposes, we all say black.
for me, yeah, we said black because people are more able to understand
Mm,
connect to that. But I'll
yes.
keep it at that. I would just say, if you everything, this is a game. All this stuff is a game, and people will come across your path to tell you things, to guide you, and not try to mislead you, in the wrong way. And you have to just be able to, because just because you're young don't mean you don't have intuition and discernment. You have to be able to recognize and be able to decide if you are going to want to be the one to listen to the information that
Yeah.
is given to you and apply it to your life.
The
Um,
lack of
that's
couth in this generation is outstanding to me.
Yeah, man. Like it's just they don't. It's crazy, man. Like I said, from the '80s, the '90s to now, it's a downhill. It's like a downhill spiral.
Oh, I can imagine. Let's go into a little bit of different subject real quick. Tell everybody about your podcast. Remind everybody the name again. Again, for all of my audience, I will be putting his link tree in this episode, so you guys can go ahead and check him out as well. Go ahead
Yeah.
and tell everybody a little bit. Explain what you cover. Yeah,
It's Wodisun out of the gray. I have took a while back. I was trying to rebrand myself because when I was doing it, I started doing it, and I'm just basically I didn't have no direction. I was just talking, and even me talking, I was seeing that it was starting to do things. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to keep up with this. But I have lost my wave like for between that time I moved from Florida to Atlanta. So I haven't really been able to jump my podcast back off. So I'm starting to rebrand it. But I do like to discuss things like relationships and mental health and stuff like spirituality, conspiracies. I pretty much talk about all topics, and I have my own perspective. I
yeah,
might have some facts. I might have some information that, especially now, like I feel like it's the time for me to really start doing it again now because I have definitely grown from the time when I started it to
yeah,
now. So I have a
exactly.
lot of stuff that I could share, a lot of information that I could give to people, and I have a lot of people that I could bring up to also give information too. Like I have people that do mental awareness. I have people that deal with energy work,
Mm,
crystals, all type of stuff. So that is what I'm where I'm at with my with out of the gray and
that's
into your
dope.
house, out of
That's
the gray and
dope.
into your home.
I fucks with it. Tell me if you had top three podcast guests you could have right now, who would it be?
Top three podcasts. Yes. Like, do you have to be like podcasters
No, it could
or
be anybody. Anybody you want on your podcast.
um I would definitely probably have somebody like Charlemagne the God because I want to grill him on
Yeah.
some stuff. Yeah, I don't like don't be, what I'm saying? I don't like when you playing stupid on media. Like I know you got a job to do, but at the same time, I
Yeah.
just gotta call you, I gotta call you out, you know. I would like to have somebody like somebody like Bobby Hemmett, a spiritual leader.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know who else I would have? Like a Dolores Cannon, somebody like that too.
Yeah.
Who, if y'all don't know who
Yo,
Dolores
that
Cannon
would be
is,
a podcast, yo.
yeah, that would be very interesting. I would just sit and just like listen, and I wouldn't even probably ask no questions. I just like, yo, I know this is my platform, but this is your show today. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And just
Just
let
sit
her
there in
fucking talk.
astonishment. I feel that
Yeah.
shit. I was talking to somebody earlier in a different, I think it was on a Saturday Live. I'd say I'd have Joe Rogan, Cat Williams, and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Ooh,
Like,
ooh, man, damn,
all
that's
them
a good three
smoking,
right there.
chilling, talking, yo. That could be,
Yeah, that's good because I can't have nobody up here. I feel like I can't have nobody that's not really like okay, so going back to my platforms in general,
yeah.
I don't do that entertainment shit. And what I mean by
Mhm.
that is I'm not gonna have nobody on my platform that's really like a nonsense. And
Okay.
I'll give you a better example. I wouldn't have somebody like Sexy Red on my platform. What is she gonna teach? You know what I'm saying? Who is
Low
she gonna
key, I feel like you give I mean, I joke on Sexy Red all the time, valid. But Sexy Red, low key, at the end of the day, she posted on her live and she was calling somebody out, talking about, yo, I'm tired of people telling me where my kids at. My kids are always with me. And she was cussing on the live and her kid in the background telling her, Mommy, don't cuss. That's don't cuss.
mm,
And she's like, well, I want to cuss. And she's like, no, don't cuss. Her child's like 4, 3. So the fact is, she be doing all this sexy shit, you know, she really is that fucking ghetto. And she's one of those people that didn't change up, you feel me? So many celebrities get money and switch up. You feel
um
me? I
yeah, so
guarantee you Beyonce was nappy headed, eating chicken in the South with her family before Jay Z's old ass decided to creep up on her. Like, come on
but
now.
check it. See, the thing is that I had like, and this is kind of like steering a little bit to the left, but the problem with her is, and that you might be a great person, you know what I'm saying, outside of the media, the public's view, but
Mm-hmm.
my issue is your message.
Mm-hmm.
That's my problem. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? So your message has nothing to really do with what type of person you are at school. And then if you're going to say that you're keeping it real and you're sticking to your roots and how I am now is how I am there, then that means, girl, you really talking about you really would just be feeling that way about STDs and stuff like that. You
I'm
you really be
telling you,
you really be like, oh man, I'm in a doctor trying to figure out why my coochie stink type of stuff. You know what I'm
Sexy
saying?
Red
Like,
was lucky she wasn't around Diddy's prime. Cause Sexy Red would have been a Diddy extravaganza. Like, anywho.
like, come on, man. Like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I can't have nobody like that on my platform because, like I said, you're not gonna have no message. All you're gonna do is come up here and talk about some ratchet shit or whatever the case may be, and
Yeah.
nobody is not gonna, it's gonna make me look bad because number one, that's not what I promote. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I promote more like a healing, a awareness, a consciousness type of shit. So
facts.
why are you here? You know what I mean? So that's why that's the thing about me.
Shit. I try to give everybody the opportunity not to be slow. Like, I was talking to somebody and they told me the phrase, always give someone enough rope to hang themselves. And I hate that phrase, but at the end of the day, it's like, yo, people really do show you their emotional, spiritual knowledge off the bat talking to them. Like, based on the menial conversations people have, and you really get down to that in your podcast, the the deep conversations, and you'll be surprised the amount of people who are willing to listen to people. You feel me? We want better conversations than just, oh, how's your job? Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but like, you talk about deep spiritual shit on your podcast as well. Get into your religious views a little bit for me.
Whew. Um,
Yeah.
let me see, can
What
I
you grew
sum
up
it?
with, how you got to where you
Yeah,
are, type shit.
let me see, can I sum this up? Okay, so remember I said in the beginning that I always was aware. As a child, I was always aware of things. So I grew up the typical. Um, I grew up in my mom couldn't decide what the fuck she wanted to do. Like one day it seemed like we was Baptist, another day we were Pentecostal, but most of the like, I'm gonna do it just like how I do where I live because I live so many places. I just summarize it. So the religion that we spent the most in was Jehovah Witness. So I
That,
grew up basically being a Jehovah Witness, and that kind of it made me feel ostracized, especially in school, because when people are standing up doing the Pledge of Allegiance, you're sitting down. Like so, the whole class is standing up, you're looking around, and you're the only one
yeah,
sitting. And or when holidays come around, like Halloween. I remember one particular Halloween, everybody was dressed up in school. They were going around to different classrooms trick or treating, and I was in the class by myself. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
so
Because I
sad.
couldn't, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't participate. So, moving forward, like I would just always question in my mind, like, yo, why is there so many different religions? Like, don't you all believe in one God? Like, I mean, I really don't
Yeah,
see the difference. This is me growing up. I really don't see the difference between the multiple religions. You all say the same thing, but basically, you all talk about this one being. So why are there so many denominations? And then I
that,
just grew up with that in my mind. But you go to church because that's what you're told to do. You know what I'm saying? You do
mhm.
not question your parents, your grandparents, or whatever. You just go. So moving along, um, I'm just gonna move up to like shit, probably the past 10 years or something, because that's when I really started like realizing things. Um, I tried to really fit in with the whole Christianity thing, and I felt like I wasn't trying hard enough. So I was like, okay, you know, this time I'm gonna give my all. I'm gonna do things I didn't do. I really didn't feel like I surrendered and all this other shit. So I got baptized and all type of stuff, and things were going up and up, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And then things just started going just like the way they were because I couldn't keep that up. It never resonated with me. I never could understand, and people could never answer my questions really. They like the only answer I would mainly get is, well, you don't understand the mind of God, and our minds are not like God's, and
Yeah.
this, and the
He
third. You
has
know
his
what I
own
mean?
will.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, this shit don't make no sense. Moving along to like right now, pretty much now. So I had like an awakening. That's what everybody likes to call it, and that's really what I had. Like my it started with my what's crazy is it didn't start with spirituality. It started with slavery, and what I mean with that was I just started thinking. I was like, hold on, out of nowhere, I was like, hold on, man. If we were slaves and we followed the narrative that they gave us about slavery, and we all came from Africa on boats in bondage, and we didn't know anything,
Hmm.
how is it that we're so adapted to this religion? How did we get to where we are today? And I
Yeah,
was like, how did these people that pushed it, how did they believe in this God? How did you believe in this God and be able to hold these people in servitude, but not be in fear for your own salvation? That didn't make no sense to me. You know
preach.
what I mean? And when you start asking questions like that, the universe provides answers. And from that point on, shit just started happening. People just started coming to me. I started getting information. I was like, oh, that makes more sense. This makes more sense. And what blew me away was this guy. I like to give credit to this guy named the Real Macabre. And he has a 6-hour video on it's called Christianity Finally Explained, and he basically destroys, like I mean obliterates the Bible. And once I watched that video, I watched it like 4 times, and it's a 6-hour video. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yo, this information is irrefutable. The facts are irrefutable. Like
Mhm.
I know now that this was made up. I know now that this is controlled. All these questions that I had from my childhood up until my adulthood are finally being answered. You know what I'm saying? So
Like, mhm. It's a hard, not to cut you off, it's a hard discussion to have because as someone I've talked about this multiple times on the podcast, as someone who had to read old scripture text in Hebrew growing up, as my father went through seminary, we all had to learn the Christian books. We all had to learn the Jewish text of the Old Testament. Like going through it, I even questioned as a child, some of this seems more from a human perspective as humans talk amongst humans as opposed to a God bringing revelations. Like, not to discredit any of Christians, y'all do you. I am an open religion podcast. Everybody listen. I question everybody's religion because at the end of the day, like you said, we all seem to believe kind of the same sort of shit. But I talked to someone who practices Islam as Islamic, and he fully believes Islam is the be all. And I told him, I said, "Yo, you're fully correct. Many religions have been around for eons past Christianity. You feel me? Buddhist, Islam. You got a lot of Native American practices. Witchcraft has been around for eons. Like, Christianity is something relatively new. Catholicism is something relatively new.
I think like you said, they all been around, but religion is like a system in itself.
Yes, religion
Religion
is
is a system in
yes,
itself. I like to use a couple of analogies, and we can move on if you like.
yeah,
The first one is, and this is like what I heard. I forgot who I heard it from, but it's true. We are all, each one of us, are all born spiritual, but none of us are born religious.
facts.
We are all taught the religion based on where you're born in this world.
Mm-hmm.
The next analogy I would like to use, that the macabre guy he uses, and I like to use it too because it's just it makes so much sense, and it's the cookbook analogy.
Okay.
Everybody likes to be like the Bible is the end all be all to existence and life on this planet, and I was like, well, that is just like me getting a cookbook by Martha Stewart and telling you this is the only way you could prepare your food through this cookbook. You know what I mean? This is the only way you could prepare meals. Now you would look at me like, "What? You're crazy." There's other people that know how to cook and make cookbooks too. That's what a logical person should think, but people don't think
Exactly.
like that. The next part of that is when you open the cookbook and you look at the recipes in the cookbook, say the seasons, the ingredients, you can find these things. When you open the Bible and you look at the stuff in the Bible, you cannot find these things, which why huge amount of faith is required for you to believe that
Yeah.
stuff happened. And I'm
Mm,
just gonna leave it at that.
yeah. Faith is like karma, but we're gonna push past that. Conspiracy theories. What's your favorite conspiracy theory? What's your
Oh
thoughts on
man, I got
conspiracy
so many. I
theory?
got
Go.
so many favorite. I got so many favorite ones, but the
Give me
one that
top
just
three,
instantly,
yo, if you got to.
damn, top three. Well, the one that just instantly came to my mind, like I don't really got a top three. I mean, I have some, but the one that instantly came to my mind was the space shit.
Space. Space is a never-ending topic of
Yo,
human curiosity from the dawn of existence.
now let me be very clear.
Yeah.
Most of my stuff that I talk about and my information that I have comes from me, just come from logical thinking, you know what I'm saying? So when we talk about space and I look at things like the moon, right? And I'm like, okay, so we've been to space, we've been to the moon. And I'm like, okay, we have all this technology. How come we only been to the moon one time? You know, that was the first question that no, and then I got people out there that do they kind of find little educational ways to answer it, but it still doesn't make sense to me.
No.
And then I'm like,
If
knowing
NASA
how
ever listens.
you know what I'm saying, and knowing how this world and how these governments operate, we would have been on the moon already with moon bases. We'd have had a military up there already. We'd have had all the moon oil.
Facts.
We would have harvested all the moon minerals. The moon would have been a pebble by now if we would have been to the moon messing with humanity. So
Oh
you never
no.
been there. You never been. You know what I'm saying?
I
Because
I
you,
disagree, yo. I disagree. I feel like we went up there and either A, another country already had possession. You feel me? We've
mm,
only technically seen one side of the moon, supposedly, based on certain
allegedly,
photos and camera angles and stuff like that. NASA only photographs the moon from one side. So I think maybe another country's up there, or we found something that we did not want to fuck with. Like, but there is a possibility we never went up there, which is True. I mean,
The rockets that leads into the whole round earth, flat earth, the firmament.
don't
Is
get
this a
me started.
dome?
Stupid
You see
shit.
what I'm saying? So this is where that comes in at. But I just ultimately, my opinion, based on how humanity and how existence is, whoever is up there, whether it be us first or their first, period, point blank, they all have the same agenda. They all do the same thing. Let me see what we can get. Let me see what we can get out of the moon. You know what I'm
Ravaging,
saying?
yo.
So they would have all did the same thing, and we would still have a pebble in the sky. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think there's been nobody up there. That's like one of my like one of my main favorite conspiracies. The other
Aliens,
one is, yeah, that one. Um, I mean,
other
that one is kind of
beings.
like, yeah, they just lie. That's, you know what I'm saying? They just,
This is conspiracy theories can go on for generations. I love watching your live podcast at TikTok. Remind y'all, will put his link tree in this podcast, so check that out.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
I do a lot on TikTok. If
yeah,
y'all really, really want to follow me, it's Chris Marshall on TikTok. Ways to Wody. Ways, that's WAYZ, the number
it's on
two.
his screen. Y'all could just
Yeah,
look
yeah,
over there
yeah,
and
do
see
that.
it.
Yeah, man, because I'm like I said, I'm trying to get my podcast back to where it was at in its original glory.
Yeah, of course. Go into a little bit since the time frame you've grown up till now, the evolution of how social media has impacted not only you and your progression, your career, and your podcast, but also globally, how dawn of social media and the internet really fucked shit up, kind of.
Man, I would say this. I wish I had this when I was doing certain things when I was like about a good 15 years ago, maybe 10 years,
Yeah,
20 years, maybe 20, even 20 years ago. If I had social media, you would probably not even know me. And if you did know me, you'll be interviewing me on a different level right now. You know what I mean?
right.
Social media has made everything more accessible, such as the internet has done that in general, right? But
Yeah,
social media has really took things to a whole new level. It has made it where people can really be what they want to be, whether they are in reality or they not.
I
You can go on
that.
you you go on Facebook and be an influencer, and like Cat Williams said, and not influence a damn thing. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
for real. Like
Like,
everybody has the title of influencer, but I feel like we need to reel that back in as an entertainment standpoint. But I'm so afraid that's never gonna happen, at this point.
nah, it's too far gone. It's too far gone.
Yeah,
Social media worldwide has brought people together. It's a gift and a curse. That's how I look at everything. A lot of people look at social media now and they're like, "Oh, it's crazy. It's toxic. People need to put down their phones." But it's like anything. Too much of anything is toxic. So I feel like social media is like when if it's used properly, it could be a great tool. But at the end of the day, it could cause huge amounts of damage to you, to your mental, to people you love and know, and all this other shit. So it's like
yeah.
anything else. You have to be
It's any other
responsible.
form of addiction, Any other form of addiction is social media. I want to close
Hmm
out this podcast with going into a quick little discussion about social media, our phones turning into the boom of AI and also cryptocurrency. We don't really have money like that no more.
Um, of course, we all know that we people will pay attention. This whole money thing, we don't know where it's going. Like we know that the dollar is losing its value. We know that that's falling. And we also, for if you want to dig deeper, we also know that that damn piece of paper is it's really worthless. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Um, the whole AI thing, again, a gift and a curse. So I hear a lot of people like, yo, I'll be talking around my phone and I'll be talking about buying some shower curtains, and the next thing you know, I'll go into my phone and
I be
it,
covering
it,
my mic and my camera because
here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is just really what my standpoint on it.
yeah,
And I'm gonna get in the camera. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I don't
yeah,
care. Like, I don't care, like, because at the end of the day, number one, I'm not doing shit anyway. You know, like you got to have all this monitorization of me and watching and all
Right.
this other shit. I don't give a fuck. And they got so many ways, allegedly. They have so many ways, so it don't even matter if you turn your phone off, if you cover your microphone, if your microwave might be a listening device, your refrigerator is a listening device, your
Right.
oven stove is a listening device,
Yeah.
your carpet could potentially be some type of listening
The
device.
day
Like,
we got social security numbers is the day we became livestock and we started to get listened to. Like, people don't
don't tell me.
realize the extent of the government's reach control, and especially having friends outside of the U.S. They be telling me, "Yo, stop watching the media, stop doing this stuff, stop," because they know from outside the country that America is crazy when it comes to the
Control.
everybody's in shape and line kind of robot, even though we scream diversity and equality. You feel me?
Control, man, and we give it up. We give it up every
Yeah.
day willingly. Willingly. We be like, hell, here, take it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
voting, I politically, I don't know. I
See,
don't really I don't believe that it matters. I believe that it's just an illusion like everything else. It's an illusion of control. It's an illusion of you having control. You know what I mean?
see,
Because
we
at the
will
end
get
of the day,
into voting and government on
mm,
your next episode because we are doing a part two with Woody over here. So, any, again, I'm gonna shout out all to your link tree and everything else attached to you. Give everybody, a one last, what's up, what's good before I shout out to our sponsors real quick.
yeah, man. Like I said, I appreciate you for having me up. Well, I'm trying to change that wordplay. I'm grateful for you for having me up here. Being able to get some, get my word out, get some little exposure. But like I told you guys, you can follow me over in the corner. You see it, Ways to Wody, Chris Marshall on TikTok. I do a lot of my content on TikTok right now. I
Yeah,
move it between Facebook and Instagram, of course,
of
here and
course.
there on YouTube. The podcast is under construction, so I will be posting episodes as soon as I get a chance to.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it with that.
Definitely sounds good. Let me give a shout out one more time to our sponsors. It's 420 Baby. She has edibles of all kind, all made in the house. She makes hot sauces, chamoins, plates, drinks, anything you need for edible experience and a good time. You got lighters, all kinds of brands. Of course, this is Let's Be Blunt. My link tree is in every bio of every social media that I stream on. We are international, we are worldwide, so please shout out where you're from. Q&A Saturdays are every Saturday live on Facebook at 5. And we be outside, we be everywhere. So please, if you see us, say what's up. We'll do a live Q&A with you right there and then. I love you guys and I appreciate my guest as always. A shout out to you as well. And we'll be looking forward to Let's Be Blunt on the second episode. So definitely stay tuned to that, you guys. Appreciate y'all.